Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aina Nazira binti Ahmad Aziz. My metric number is 292136. So for our grade assignment title is Report for the Services Sector Contribution to Malaysia's GDP from 2015 to 2022. So first of all, I will talk about introduction. So, the term service sector refers to a large group of firms and industries that offer customers intangible goods and services, including those in the fields of healthcare, education, finance, hospitality, and transportation. The service industry in general is focused on providing consumers with high quality, individualized experiences that fit their specific needs and goals. It frequently offers better paying jobs and contributes significantly to economic growth. This sector has grown in importance in many economies throughout the world. Furthermore, as more individuals look for services to enhance their lives and assist them in achieving their goals, this sector of the economy has grown in importance over the past several years and is predicted to keep expanding. While gross domestic product or GDP is a metric used to determine how economically active in a country is overall, GDP is significant since it provides information on the size and health of an economy. It is a market value depiction of all goods and services produced inside a country's borders over a specific time period, usually a year. The standard of life for a country's population is largely determined by its GDP, which is usually cited as a barometer of the country's economic health. Greater GDP is a sign of a stronger economy since more products and services are produced and used, along with consumption, government spending, investment, and net exports. The worth of all finished goods and services generated in a country is all added up. The purpose of research questions is to gather the information needed to achieve the objectives. The primary concerns that will be examined in this study are as follows. First, why is the service sector in Malaysia highly developed economies growing more rapidly than other sectors? Second, what are the reasons that contributed to the ascent or descent in the services sector from 2015 to 2022? And last but not least, what should the government and other relevant parties do to stabilize productivity in the service sector in Malaysia? The main objectives of this study are as follows. First, to analyze the trend of services sector contribution to Malaysia's GDP from 2015 to 2022. Second, to determine the factors that affect services sector from 2015 to 2022. And the last, to identify the most effective ways to improve the productivity in the service sector in Malaysia. So the importance of the study, where the service sector, which is an integral aspect of the Malaysian economy, contributes significantly to GDP. Actually, the services industry makes up over 57% of Malaysia's GDP. These sectors cover a wide range of industry, such as involved in travel, transportation, communication, finance, and business services. The expansion of the services sector has increased employment opportunities, in particular among urban areas, which has lowered unemployment rates and increased total economic growth. Malaysia's service sector has steadily grown in recent years with the support and encouragement of the government, attracting foreign investment and developing the country's economy. In conclusion, the importance of the services sector to Malaysia's economy is mostly driven by increased demand to obtain services, technological advancements and expanding middle class. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Nurajah binti Ahmad. My metric number 279107. So I will proceed with the literature review part. This literature review discuss the significance of the service sector in Malaysia economy from 2015 to 2022. It highlights the service sector has become the largest contributor to Malaysian GDP during this period, surpassing the manufacturing and construction sector. The service sector encompasses various industries such as finance, real estate, transportation, tourism and communications. So the service sector is the primary source of employment in Malaysia, offering job opportunities across the different skill level. This sector support income generation and contribute to a better standard of living for Malaysians, as the service sector represent more than half of Malaysia overall GDP. It has significant impact to the country economic development, productivity and income. Additionally, the service market in Malaysia is well regulated and accessible, facilitating the flow of information, skills, technology and capital, as well as the mobility of experienced labor across border. So we also explains the method used to calculate the gross domestic product, which is GDP, including the productions approach, income approach and expenditure approach. This approach are considered as the value added at each level of production. The income generated by the factor of production and the total expenditure of goods and service in the economy. By using this different approach, GDP can be measured from the productions, income and expenditure perspective. So more, as Malaysia progresses toward becoming a developed country, there is a growing emphasis of development of the service sector. The service sector is seen as the main engine of growth to drive and sustain the economy, and a trend observed in developed country as well.
From the data, we can see that the year 2022 recorded the highest service sector compared to other sectors, which is 881.3 billion ringgit. While for the annual percentage change in Malaysia's macroeconomics data for GDP, the highest percentage is also recorded by the service sector in 2022 as well, which is 10.9%.
Hello everyone, I'm Adisa Analytic 28912. So I would like to go to the comparison between GDP and value of service sector. So yes, you can see how the table is based on from 2015 to 2022. There are three main ones. There's going to be value in billion, and then SRG, which represents service sector's value out of all GDP values in percent. Then you got last one is the changes, annual percentage changes. So from this first statistic, this one, the service value, service sector value contributes more than 50%. So of all GDP values combined. So overall from 2015 to 2022. That means the sector that in this table here is the most important for Malaysian economy. Next, we'll go to trend of service sector's contribution to Malaysia GDP from 2015 to 2022. So first is the GDP value. So the GDP increased from 1,176.9 billion ringgit in 2015, increased every year except in 2020 to 1,510.9 billion ringgit in 2022, and it always reached a positive value for annual percentage value. Same thing except in 2020. Then we got to the right side is the service value. The service sector increased by 643 billion ringgit in 2015 to 881.3 billion ringgit in 2022. Also increased every year except 2020. and always reach a positive value for the annual percentage value. The same thing happened, also same in 2020. This all is caused by the COVID-19 pandemic movement control order restrictions in 2020. So in that case, the service sector is also is the most important to support the GDP and to support Malaysia's economy. And this sector also is mostly in urban areas, like inside the city or town. Next, I will go to how the service sector rapidly better than the other sectors for contributing the GDP. So, based on the information for the previous slides here, that shifting from agriculture and manufacturing in this case is original for Malaysia economy before that. But for the service sector, on the hand, is rising quickly, based on the thanks to the technological era. So in the 21st century, especially, and in the era of digitalization, a country is in the midst of a radical shift, which means that the share of total output is to be GDP accounted services with a sharp increase. Malaysia also broken the historical convention by heading straight to services without developing significant manufacturing sector at all. So, based on GDP share value, Malaysia back in 1980s main focus to the manufacturing sector and agriculture. So the service sector at the time is very low. But when we go to 2010s, the service sector is increased drastically thanks to the digital eras. That's why manufacturing and agriculture is slowly changed. But for the service sector on hand, it's increased drastically. Service today comprise a growing proportion of nation trade baskets, which is focused to the export communication and computer services. Then there are many traded goods and services, which is mostly is going to be imported. The standard international system and trading within border and across border digitally also influence the service sector's performance. So thanks to the digital era and until today, the service sector is now important, not just in Malaysia, but it's around the world. As you can see in Japan and the US, the United States, these technological devices and machines can increase the pace for performance and develop the country rapidly, and it's also a help to some people to save the time and decrease the workload apparently. Now we'll go to value for subsectors of service sectors from 2015 to 2022. So based on the table here, there are 13 subsectors here. But the most value for all of them is going to be top 3. Wholesale and retail sale, government services, and information and communication. Wholesale retail sale is the most, which now in the 2022 the value is 297,424 million ringgit. So this first one is the most important one because Malaysia always produce a local products for the any goods and services, especially many brands all this made in Malaysia, so that's why the values is always be the biggest one. Then government services. So there are many services here. We got like some many buildings for government here, for example like JPJ and some PTPTN services. Then last but not least is going to be information and communication. Now we are already using the many devices, machines like tablet, have smartphones, laptop, computer like this. That's why, and also we have been using the internet. That's why the thing happen, increasing the performance for this subsector. The government services value in 2022 is at 142,033 million ringgit, and information and communication at 101,642 million ringgit. The remaining on the bottom of the rank is lower than 10,000 million ringgit. That's why those three most value one is the most important to make sure Malaysia economy is inconsistent. So last but not least, in my presentation, we go to change for sub-service of service sectors from 2015 to 2022. So note that in this table, there are the annual percentage changes for 2015 and additional for household are not displayed. That's because there are no data here. So that's why there are some report there are no display here. So the most changes is going to be transportation and storage, real estate, and community, social, and personal services. For the south sectors, for these changes here, we have many changes about the drastic decisions, drastic solutions. That's why the changes is in many parts here, and we have many some negative percentage to the positive percentage changes me every year, year by year. So based on the table here, so that's why mostly so most subsectors is drastically increase, mostly happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. That's why the changes is drastically either decrease or increase. It's also influenced thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic. That's why it's always increase or decrease drastically, rapidly, suddenly, and the most important is going to be consistency. But some subsectors are almost same percentage, between like 3 to 6%, for example. That's why they want to maintain to make sure they were not going to affect all, and that's why it's to be listed here. So that's the end for me. Thanks for watching. I would like to give to the other presenter. Thank you so much.
So for this part, I will explain the factor affecting the service sector. There are 6 factors, as we know, has been affecting the service sector, which are the first one is advanced system and technology. Secondly is strong safety and online security. The thirdly is government policies. The fourthly is social changes. The fifth is business trend, and the last one is internationalizations and globalizations. So the first one, which is advanced system and technologies. So in the service sector has benefited the advanced technologies such as automated machine and digitalizations. This has improved efficiency, reduced manual labor, and save time for user. So the next one is strong safety and online security. The service sector prioritizes the safety and online security to ensure a secure user experience, minimizing the issue like corruption and online scam. The thirdly is government policies. As we know, the government regulation influence the pricing, distribution strategy, and the operational procedure in the service sector. So the privatizations incentive have lead to increase the efficiency and profit, and it's also requiring the firm to adapt their marketing, operations, and human resource policies. The fourthly is social change. The changing lifestyle, including the both member of household working, has created a demand for service that were traditionally performed within households, such as childcare and laundry, and also the food preparations. The fifth is business trends. So, the professional associations has been encouraged to remove advertising restrictions, and franchising has become more common in the service industry. Licensing independent entrepreneur to provide branded service has also increased in our country. So the last one is the internationalization and globalizations. So in the service sector the service sector expansions into the new market, and the need to cater the customer traveling abroad has penalizations. This trend encourage competitions, innovations transfer, and the partnership with the international supplier. Overall, the six factor shape the service sector growth, innovation, and adaptability, and the response to changing market dynamics.
Good day, doctor. My name is Pu Iwun. Metric number is 292920. Now I will explain the solution to improve the productivity in the service sector in Malaysia. In this session, we have 7 solutions to improve the productivity. First of all, we have improving staff, introducing upgrade system and advanced technology. Next is reducing service level, substituting product for service, introducing new service, customer interaction, and the lastly is reduce the mismatch between supply and demand. Thank you. Now I will talk about the summary. So the service sector is important because it is one of the components that affect GDP. The service contribution to the GDP has increased per year from 2015 to 2018, but in 2019 it faced decline and raised in the next 3 years. The annual percentage change of the service sector has increased from 5.7% in 2016 to 6.9% in 2018. There are some subsectors in the service sector such as utility, wholesale and retail trade, finance, and other. The value of subsector is increasing per year from 2015 to 2020. Now I will talk about the factors that affect the service sector such as advanced system and technology, strong safety and online security, government policy, social change, business trade, internationalization and globalization. The ways to improve the productivity in the service sector, such as improving staff, introducing upgrade system and advanced technology, reducing service level, substituting product for service, introducing new service, customer interaction, reducing the mismatch between supply and demand. Now I will talk about the recommendation. In this section, we have discussed 3 factors that will increase the GDP. First of all is through information and communication technology, which is ICT. ICT contribution to GDP has increased over the year and reached 22.6% in 2020. One of the components of ICT is e-commerce. An increase in e-commerce also lead to an increase in career opportunity and GDP. Second is through investment, which is foreign direct investment (FDI). FDI generate employment as investors launch new business abroad. It will increase employment opportunity, the purchasing power and income. Thereby, it will promoting our economic development. Lastly is through develop human capital. One of the way to develop human capital is education. This is because education can improve the cognitive ability of workers so they can learn on the job more quickly. The time required for production will be reduced so they can get familiar with new production equipment and master new operating techniques faster. So the productivity will increase sustainably through education. That's all for me. Thank you.